Hi there, everybody. I'm Jennifer Angel. And even though we're halfway through the month of January, I'm going to just outline and go over and have a look at what's happening for the rest of this month. Okay. I have been a little inconsistent with my videos. I'm so sorry. And I just tried to take on too much. Okay, so I'm sure there's some of you out there who can relate to that, and you just scatter your energies too much. So one of my intentions this year is to focus on priorities more and video and getting some reports out to you, because I do think it's really helpful. It's going to be one of my priorities this year. So let's talk about Mercury first, because Mercury is retrograde. It did go into retrograde on December the 29th, which was my birthday. If you've been watching me for a while, you'll know that Mercury retrograde is not one of my most favorite transits, but hey, you know, there's always two sides to the coin. And actually, over this period and over the holidays, because traditionally that's a time that we all sort of reflect on the year that's closing and open up and think about, what do we want to achieve for this next year? Like, where do we want to be this time next year? So in that sense, Mercury being retrograde is a very positive time. This is a very positive time of year for that to happen. And particularly as it's in Capricorn, and Capricorn likes to sort of plan, get things down, do goals, get inspired, and just like make a plan of action to follow. So Mercury retrograde really fits very nicely into that. So if you have not done that yet, then January is a perfect time to do that. You know, start to reflect, you know, and get a little bit of time out. And certainly January, there's a lot of aspects that do suggest or do indicate that it's a great time to have some solar time. And in fact, it's always a great time to have some solar time. And I would encourage you, and certainly in my coaching and self-mastery program, this is a very big part of that. Personally, I do an hour and a half, 90 minutes every morning on energy and meditation. And, I don't expect everybody to do that. And also, it's difficult sometimes to do it. It's a priority for me. I've been studying metaphysics since I was sort of 16, was my first sort of let's say psychic premonition time, and then I was at a Buddhist temple meditating when I was 19, and believe me, that's more years than I want to admit to. And meditating, just the word was sort of whispered in corridors, back then. So, for me, it's more of a natural, and it's a priority for me. But hey, look, even if you can do some breathing exercises, I say to my clients who, perhaps have children or busy schedules in the morning, or you've got a husband or a partner or children, you got to take the dog out, whatever it is. Not everybody has the luxury of spending 90 minutes on their morning exercise empowerment program. I get that. I really do, because sometimes even I can't do it, It's great to do some breathing exercises and just sit there and bring the breath in, and then and 6 of those, and it just helps to really recenter you, helps to focus you. But if you can get out and just, even sort of walk, there is such thing called walking meditation. Best to do it once again by yourself, because that's when you can go inner and you can be with your own thoughts. Anyway, now digress. Let's get back to Mercury. But that's all very much part of the planning, which is great during Mercury retrograde. Okay. Now, Coming up today on the 13th, when I'm recording this, Mars is going to finally come out of its retrograde transit, okay? In Gemini, I feel like it's been in Gemini for ages. I don't have the exact date in front of me right now, but I like Mars in Gemini because Gemini is just like all about education, like the things that do Gemini. I mean, if I could pick 3 words for Gemini, it would be creativity, highly creative energy, education, and communication, of course, because it's ruled by Mercury. Okay, so with Mars in this area, it really like just sharpens your senses. Like you can get like insights, and when you do get those insights, like pay attention, because you know when you get those like sparks of inspiration, you want to like grab that, either write it down or you know, record it on your phone, and you know, just like capture it, like notice it, pay attention. I really feel that they are like messages from your inner self, and you know, it's important. It means something. It's going to mean something to you, you know, not for everybody, but you personally. And so with Mars coming out of, you know, being stationary direct and coming out of its retrograde phase, it's sort of like all systems go, okay? But we got to keep in mind that Mercury is still retrograde, all right? And Uranus is still retrograde as well, and Uranus is going to come out of its retrograde on, let's see, I'm looking at my notes here, it looks like the 23rd of this month, so another week and a half. So things are starting to move forward, starting to hot up. So first of all, if you feel you haven't hit the ground running, you feel you haven't, like, you know, you've been a little bit slow getting into the year, don't worry, okay? As long as you're using that time productively to get yourself organized, think things through, get clarity, make a plan, break the plan down, chunk it down. I think that's an Aussie saying, where you just take the plan and go, okay, what are the action steps that I need to put in place, you know, for this plan to work, for me to actually have it happen? Because, you know, visualization is an amazing manifestation tool. It really is. And everything starts from a thought. And you know, then you start to create it and visualize it. But really, if you don't sort of actually step out of your comfort zone and put action to it, then chances are it's just going to stay as a thought. You know, it's there in the universe, and the universe has it, and the universe wants to make it happen for you, wants to manifest it, wants to send it to you, okay? But it's up to you. I mean, one of my little analogies that I like is that, you know, you can buy a gym membership for someone, or buy it for yourself, but you know, no one else can go to the gym for you, okay? There's no way around this. You have to do the work. And you know, sometimes I listen to or follow Mel Robbins, and I remember once I was listening to her, and she said, like, no one is coming to save you. You know, when I first heard that, I thought, yeah, it's a little rough, but you know what? She's right. You know, well, we got to take responsibility for ourselves and make our own life happen. And you know, just getting back to Mars in Gemini, you know, coming out of its retrograde, then it's really a time where, you know, you can start to manifest, and you can start to put those ideas and those inspired thoughts in your imagination. You can start to sort of, you know, put action to it, because that's what Mars is all about. It's all about action, and Mars rules the first house and the 8th house. It rules Aries. It sits in the first house, and it's actually a co-ruler for Scorpio. So it's, rules the 8th house as well. So, and both of these signs, Mars and Scorpio, very action, and Mars is a little more impulsive than Scorpio. Scorpio is more strategic, but they both like get down to business and get things done. So that energy is good for everybody. Now, of course, you want to look at your sun sign, how it affects your sun sign. And you also want to have a look where it sits in your personal chart. So there's lots of there's lots of sites. In fact, I'm just looking at putting a widget on my site now, so it can offer this free, but you can go and get your sort of planetary placements done. Just Google it and you can find somebody to do that. I'll let you know when I've got that up on my site as well. And that'll give you where your planetary placements are. I mean, of course, then unless you know astrology or, been following up for a while or studying astrology, you can interpret it yourself. Otherwise, you can book a session with an astrologer, myself, or someone else that you resonate with, okay? Chart work is amazing. I love chart work because it just highlights so much. And, the thing about that I love about astrology, which I've said many times, it's like the blueprint of your character, your emotions, how you communicate, how you do everything. But more importantly, to me, it just gives you permission to be you, okay, without apologies, all right? And the more that you know yourself and who you are, the less that you're trying to get that filled from outside, from other people. All right, so moving on, there's a lot going on around the 18th and the 19th. First of all, Mercury will come out of retrograde or stationary direct in Capricorn the 18th. So you want to give it a couple of days after that, because a few days either side of the retrograde or either side of Mercury retrograde is what's called the storm. Some astrologers say it's up to, a week. I like to think it's sort of like the 2 or 3 days when I'm, looking at dates for people to sign contracts or, do things. So if you've got anything sort of major that you're launching, you want to sort of leave it a couple of days after that. And so that's going to come out, so that we're going to be able to sort of move forward. And Capricorn likes to set things in place for the future, like strong, solid foundations. And then, around that same time, a couple of days later, on the 20th, the sun is going to move from Capricorn into Aquarius. Very different energy here, because Capricorn and Aquarius are sort of pretty well opposite. Capricorn likes tradition and likes to just get everything sort of planned and set and have it laid out and have it organized, likes to control everything, certainly control their own life and sometimes other people's lives. Mainly the control from Capricorn comes from they're known as the controllers of the zodiac, amongst other things, and mainly because they just want to keep their own life sort of steady and controlling, all right, and controlled rather. So as the sun moves into Aquarius, it's more like freedom. Like Aquarius, there's 2 different energies for Aquarius. They are very social. They like to be connected with people, but they also like their freedom. They like a certain amount of freedom. I always think that Aquarius are the most misunderstood signs. By the way, coming up this month, happy birthday to Capricorns who still haven't had their birthday, and to Aquarians that are coming up. But the reason I always think that they're the most misunderstood sign is that textbook, it'll say, oh, they're aloof and they're standoffish. They're not at all. They just want to go away to their cave or, their goddess quarters, and just sort of think things through. They're an air sign, so they want to they have to sort it out, and once they sort of sort it out and think it through, and they need to be by themselves. That's their quiet time. And it's really, sometimes people go, so, did I do something to upset you? Did I say something? And really, it's not okay. So listen to this, pay attention. If you've got an Aquarian in your life, pay attention. It is nothing to do. 9.9 out of 10, it is nothing to do with you. There is a 1% where it could be, okay, but it's nothing to do with you. It's about them having space for themselves, and they need that space. So the more self-assured that you are, the more that in yourself, the more that you can allow the Aquarian in your life to be themselves. Okay, so if you're a little bit needy, or just leave it at that, a little bit needy, then Aquarian partner is not for you. Okay. All right. So as the sun moves into Aquarius and connects with the moon, on the very next day, on the 21st, we're going to have the new moon. So a new moon in Aquarius, it's it's a different, it's thinking. The Aquarian new moon really highlights, first of all, going inwards. It all starts from within you. It all starts from you. Okay, let's get that straight from the beginning. But then the Aquarian energy, they're the humanitarians of the zodiac, the philanthropists. And so they love to help other people. Like if somebody is being treated unfairly, then guess what? The Aquarians are the first to step up. And they're not, they're not backward in that sense of saying how they feel. And they're certainly not backward of getting out and doing a protest either. So they sort of keep other people, let's say, a little bit honest in that sense. So it's a beautiful energy, but sometimes, misunderstood. So in that sense, this month with this new moon and moving forward from that is, first of all, going inwards, looking after yourself, then going outwards and looking after other people. It's a little bit like when you get on the plane and they say, put the oxygen mask on you first before the child. So, that's sort of like the energy that's coming through for me for this month, particularly from the second half of the month. Look after you first, then others. Otherwise, it doesn't work the other way, because eventually, if you're doing things for everyone else and not looking after you, then that's when resentments, can start to set in. Then there's a lot going on around this time as well, like the just before here we're going to have the moon will conjunct is the exact degree of two planets with Pluto. These two, like the sun rather, not the moon, the sun and Pluto together, that's like a real powerful connection. And when that happens, it's actually in Capricorn, so it's really get down to business and make it happen. So I love that. Let's see what else is happening there. There is going to be a couple of what's called trines, which is like easy passages, like, path of least resistance. And earlier in the month, around the 9th, Venus and Mars will trine, and these two are like the love energy. Venus is romance and Mars is passion. So remember the book that Dr. John Gray did, Venus, Mars. So that's very nice for relationships. And then later on at the end of the month, we're going to have the sun will trine with Mars. So once again, this is going to be good for excuse me, for opportunities. So I was trying to read my writing here. I'm sure I was a doctor in a past life, because I find it hard to even read my own writing. So, there's like a lot of great things, even though the month of the year with the retrogrades, it started off maybe a little slow. There's a lot of great things. And as I said, that period of starting off slow, don't be giving yourself a hard time about it, because sometimes we just need to reflect and go through things and change it. And, some of us can get like amazing insights just through like that. Others, we have to sort of think about it for a while, let it sit, let it sort of permeate, before we come. So don't be giving yourself a hard time about anything, okay? Now, and then moving on to the 24th, we're going to have the sun will trine. It looks like the sun's going to trine Jupiter, right? This is great for opportunities, but guess what? You have to recognize the opportunities, all right? So Jupiter brings like opportunities. Jupiter is a planet of growth and expansion, and and it's a beneficial, we call it the lucky planet. I mean, I love Jupiter, so Jupiter and Venus, it's all good. And so, but opportunities, if you're just there busy and you don't come up for air, and you don't sort of see and notice what's happening around you, then an opportunity which could be sent directly from the universe, because it's something that you have asked for, can come and like pass you by if you're not paying attention. It's not always going to come and just tap you on the shoulder. All right, so watch out. And in the other sense, I want to say that not every opportunity that pings on your email or crosses your desk or comes through a friend is going to be suitable. That's up for you to decide. No one can decide that but you. Okay, but the main point here is to say, just be aware. Like, don't miss out on things that are meant to be for you, like tailor-made for you. And then, later in the month, Venus is going to make a move into Pisces. Now, I love this, Venus in Pisces. Pisces is, let's talk about Pisces for a while, not for Pisces, but for all of us, because even though if you're not a Pisces, you're still going to get the benefit of the vibratory energy, okay? So it'll still reflect on a specific area of your life in your sun sign chart, and it will reflect on a different layer and area of light in your personal birth chart, okay? So let's just talk about the vibratory energy of this, because Pisces is a dual sign. And if you've seen Pisces, it's like the two fishies, like they go each way. So one is highly intuitive, highly sensitive, and the other one is highly analytical. Okay, so you've got like two there. Always the Pisces challenge is to pay attention to their intuition, because with the Pisces energy and the vibratory energy of Pisces, if you get too caught up in the analytics, then it like can tend to block the inspired thought and intuition that comes through. So first of all, and it's very imaginative, sits in the 12th house. So it's inspiration, it's imagination. And, if you listen to any like self-help guru, and, I've followed and done work with many of them at the moment. I'm doing some programs with John Assaraf. He's a neuroscientist, as well as Dr. John DeMartini and Dr. Joe Dispenza. There's three of my favorite. I just realized they all sort of are John, and Joe. So I'm not sure what that's about, but And so if you listen, they'll all say, you know, tune into, and Bob Proctor, bless his heart, in spirit now, would always say, listen, get your imagination going, okay? So start to imagine and visualize and then get excited about it. And that's where the way you get excited about things is that you follow your heart with the things and people and situations that you love. Okay. And the more connected and the more emotion that you can put behind your thoughts and visualization, the stronger your manifestation power, right? So back to the chart. So that's like that's the beauty of the Pisces energy. That's what the Pisces energy gives us. It gives us, and as I said, we're all going to get this energy. It helps us tune into our imagination. It helps us tune into our heart, helps us tune into our soul. There's two areas of the chart which I consider are the areas of our soul. And one is the 9th house, which Jupiter rules, and the other one is the 12th house, where Pisces is. And by the way, the 12th house, Pisces co-ruler, is Jupiter. Okay. So when when Venus moves into this area, and it's going to be on the 26th of January and stay there right through to February the 20th, then this is beautiful because, you know, the Venus-Jupiter energy goes well together. And let's not forget that the ruler of Pisces is Neptune, and Neptune is in Pisces, okay? And the Neptune energies, hugely transformational, as in inspired thought and visualization and, you know, almost fanciful, and just getting in touch with that like inner heart of who you are, what you want to do, and dreaming big, because the Jupiter energy is big, okay? And the Venus governs love and money. Venus governs two signs, so two houses and two areas of your life. One is the 2nd house, which is to do with money and stability, also to do with self-worth. This is where Taurus sits, okay? And the other thing that's happening right around the same time is that Uranus in Taurus is going to come out of its retrograde transit. I think I might have mentioned this earlier, around the 23rd, excuse me. So once again, you know, things are going to start to move forward. And of course, the other area that Venus rules is 7th house, which Libra occupies, and that's all about relationships. Love relationships, yes, but all relationships, okay? So, and like, let's get serious. Like, why are we here? I mean, I'm sure you could ask like 6 people that reason and you get 6 different answers. So to me, we're here to learn and grow and evolve. And how do we do that? We do that through relationships. Like, if you think about it, like, no matter what we do, we have a relationship with our family, you know, a pet, work, friends, our partner, and we're learning the whole time as we're like bouncing off people and listening to people. And so yeah, Venus is a really, you know, a really substantial planet for us, the vibratory energy of that planet. And as I said, it also brings in our self-worth. How worthy do we feel of attracting in our life what we want? Okay, so with Venus in Pisces, you're getting that picture. We want to use that energy just to, you know, just to sort of get in touch with us, you know, who we are, what we want to do, how we're going to get there. And, you know, at this point, I would sort of encourage you to, you know, most successful people, I don't want to say all, because there's always, you know, it's always like a, exception to the rule, but most successful people have a coach, or they're doing a lot of self-work. If you're in a position to work with a coach, then do that, because I love my coaching work. I love working with my private coaching one-on-one clients, and a big part of the coaching success is accountability. And but if you can't, I mean, of course there's all sorts of other areas that the coaching brings in as well. It's knowledge and guidance, and but it's keeping people accountable. Now, the other thing, and if you're not in a position to do that, I mean, if you want to talk about coaching with me, then I'll put down in the, underneath here, you can book just a coaching discussion with me, 20-minute discussion, and I'll put my calendar down there. But if you're not in a position to do that, or you don't resonate with it right now, then, guess what? There's a heap of information on YouTube. What an amazing time we live in. We have, like, we can just pick up our phone and go da, 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 and all these masters that people I mentioned before are just giving away their knowledge. And then of course, to get the deeper level of that knowledge, then they have programs which you pay for, but hell, there's just so much stuff out there, so yeah, pick up a book, watch a video, all of that's great. All right, so all that being said, have an amazing year. I really want that for you. And if there's any way I can help you to do that, just let me know. And this is like the start of the year to me is always, I mean, it might be because my birthday is right on the end of December, but it's always an exciting time because you're re-evaluating things, and it's really positive. All right, so love, luck, wisdom, and vision to you. And I hope you have a great month and a great year, and we'll talk soon. Okay, bye for now.